Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Ryan Clifton Bolin. Let's get right down to it. Evidently, there was a TikTok video that came out a few days ago in reference to supposedly a transgender teacher who accused a baby of being transphobic, who actually accused the baby of being transphobic. I actually watched the video. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad if, in fact, this video is factual. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the articles. I read it out of Trending Politics. I actually saw the video before I read the article in Trending Politics. But I'm going to read the articles, a short article, and then I'm going to let you guys listen in on what the teacher or the proposed teacher actually said. It's only like a few seconds, like 30, 34 seconds. And then after I've completed reading that article, I'm going to give you guys my opinion. Okay, so we're going to get right into this. This is from Trending Politics. And the title is Transgender TikTok User Accuses Baby of Being Transphobic. With the increasing divorce rates, social justice pressures, and increasing psychological cases spiking during the lockdowns, more and more people are trying to change their gender identity. For some reason, many post videos on social media platforms displaying their gender dysphoria. And it basically defines gender dysphoria as psychological distress that results from an internal conflict between one's sex assigned at birth and one's gender identity. So a person who's experiencing gender dysphoria is someone who's internally at conflict. They can't, it's something, and this internal conflict affects their relationships with people around them. They're in constant conflict internally and they're miserable. The article goes on to say, in another example, an angry transgender TikTok user posted a video in which she/he accused the baby of being transphobic. The user also claims he made the baby cry by verbally berating him over his transphobia. The individual in the video accused the baby of preferring that she wear a wig to make herself look more feminine. The TikToker said, quote, I have talked about the transphobic baby at work before. I went in a room with him today and I had my wig on, which I took off now because it is like 9 o'clock at night, end quote. And of course, he goes on to say again, he didn't cry and he was like babbling at me. And I had to look at him and like, man, the way this person even talks. And I had a look at him and like, do you like me now because you've had a moment? Or do you like me now because I have long hair and look more feminine? Because then you're more transphobic. And listen, I'm going to let you listen in to this. I know you guys can't see this. Can't see this. It's a picture of it, but I'm going to let you listen in to this individual. And if this is not a joke, this is really showing the extent of the illness that's being pushed upon us. But I'm going to get into that after reading this. Look, so it says here.
Do you like me now because we've had a moment? Or do you like me now because I have long hair and look more feminine? Because then you're more transphobic. Then he started to cry, so that was my answer.
Okay. So clearly that was the words of this individual. So I'm going to continue to read what this individual said. Then he started to cry. So that was my answer, the TikToker said at the end of the conversation. But I want you guys to listen in to what this person actually said. Okay. According to, what the heck? Forgive me for that craziness. So let's read on. By the way, the term transgender refers to a person whose sex assigned at birth, the sex assigned by a physician at birth, usually based on external genitalia, does not match their gender identity, i.e. one's psychological sense of their gender. I, for one, now the editor of this article is clearly giving their own opinion. I, for one, say this woman, a preschool teacher, should leave her sexual identity and other inappropriate issues outside the classroom and actually do her job. Okay, having said that, and I agree with his opinion on that as well. Having said that, I just read also on this article, there was a response to this article by a LGBTQ group who responded to this article accusing conservatives of taking this too seriously. Their statement in that article and their response to it was this LGBTQ group of accusing conservatives of taking this too seriously is simply saying they're saying that these conservatives don't know how to take a joke. Okay. Now, let me say this right up front. As the article said, it has not been confirmed as to whether or not this teacher or this person proposing to be a preschool teacher is actually a preschool teacher. So let me put that out up front. I'm not saying this video or this person claiming to be a teacher, a preschool teacher, is actually that. It could be a big joke. But the reason why I'm doing this video, as I agree with one of my fellow YouTubers, conservative YouTubers, is number one, having seen the video and having read the information, but actually having seen the video, it would be it's no shock to me if it's true. Because do we not have teachers in our schools and in our universities that are teaching things that are far leftist, teaching CRT, critical race theory, teaching transgenderism, all this kind of stuff? Teachers are actually teaching our kids in the school. It's not a conspiracy theory. If this is real, and if this person is a real person, clearly a real teacher and a real individual, and it's not a joke, clearly this person needs help. I'm not going to even argue that. I'm not going to even get into, well, it's not logical for you to be doing this and other. Clearly the person needs help. Clearly the person should not be teaching kids or teaching young people in preschool. It shouldn't. That's not even worth arguing. What I want to talk about, as I always talk about, is why is this type of sickness growing? Why is this kind of mental dysphoria growing? I believe that it's growing for a couple of reasons. Number one, I believe it's spiritual, because as a minister, I believe that there's a spiritual side behind everything. And I believe that a lot of this stuff is influenced by demonic spirits in the unseen spiritual realm that we can't see, but it's just as real as our three-dimensional realm. But that's a whole nother story. You can go on my Bible station, my Bible YouTube channel for that. It's called Studying the Bible with Brother Bolin. But that's a whole nother story. You can go on that for yourself. I believe it's spiritual, but I also believe it's political. The politicians that are pushing this transgenderism and all of these kind of things that are really mixed up, that's really mixing up a lot of our people, is the far leftist politicians on a local level, state level, federal level. It's in the leadership. In part, it's in the leadership. Leaders influence the perceptions of the people. People can try to ignore it all day, but I believe that leaders, people in positions of authority, the things that they say, the things that they do, whether they realize it or not, influences the people that are following them, the people that listen to them. And when you have politicians and you have leaders who push this kind of dysphoria, you push this kind of agenda, who push this kind of mentality, if the people are not strong enough psychologically and strong enough spiritually, they will yield to it. They will give into it. And we see that right now. And a lot of these politicians are not for the good of this country. They do not love America. They hate America as far as I'm concerned. They want to corrupt the people. You can't get me to believe that any politician that gets up, and whether it's on state levels, local level, state level, federal level, that gets up and says that it's okay and it's perfectly fine for someone like this to be teaching kids in the school. That's not even worth arguing. And the reason why it's not, in my opinion, it's not worth arguing is because I believe they have an agenda. The purpose is to corrupt your children, to confuse them about their gender when they're young. Put that seed in them when they're young. Okay. And that way they're confused. That way it's easier to manipulate them psychologically, and it's easier to control them for the bigger agenda that these elitists have. When you have informed youth and informed children, it's hard to control them. Thank God that my son, even though he doesn't live with me, we talk all the time. And I thank God that God has blessed my son with intelligence. He'll be 17 the 20th of this month. I thank God that God has blessed my son with intelligence, that he's able to look at situations and hear people say things that he knows is clearly crazy. And he says, that's not right. That's not right. I don't agree with that. And I thank God for that. I pray for him every day. God give him wisdom and discernment and understanding. And I pray the same thing for all of our youth. And I pray that we all, as parents, and those that are concerned, not just as parents, but those that basically are thinkers and see what's going on and see the agendas that are being pushed, that they will continue to expose this kind of sickness. And as I said earlier, I'm not saying that video, as that LGBTQ whatever group accused conservatives of taking it too seriously. I'm not saying that video is not a joke. It could be a joke. But for the reasonings behind many conservatives who've seen the video think that it might be real, it's because we have pre-existing situations that support that. We have teachers that are teaching this kind of filth in the schools. But there's an agenda behind it. The purpose is to corrupt and dumb down our children. I'm going to keep saying it until people see it. Let's protect our children. It is our children they have to. Listen, I said this before, and I'm going to close on this. I don't care what lifestyle these people live. It doesn't matter to me if you choose to be that way. If you want to be a train, if you want to be a stove, if you want to be a lighter, you know what I'm saying? If you want to be a dog or a cat, you know what I mean? If you want whatever you want to be, I don't care. It don't matter to me. You're not adding anything to me. You're not taking anything to me. I get up and I go to work and I do my thing. You get up and go to work or do whatever you do. And it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But when you start trying to push this on the kids, it's clear to me you have an agenda or someone is manipulating you to push their agenda. So I'm not going to even argue that. Leave our children alone. Leave our children out of your sickness. Leave them alone. We will continue to expose the darkness that the far left is trying to push on our children. And that's the whole purpose. So that's what I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think about this? You think this teacher is a real teacher, real preschool teacher who's clearly ill and needs help, accusing the baby of being transphobic because the baby's crying? I mean, if this is true, then that person needs help. They need help. I don't hate them. They need help. So what do you guys think? What do you think about this video? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again.